the New York Knicks have wrapped up their preseason and made the inevitable tough decisions that come before the start of the NBA regular season. After finishing their exhibition schedule with a close 113-108 win over the Charlotte Hornets at Madison Square Garden, the Knicks announced that they have waived Alex Len, Garrison Matthews, and Matt Ryan, finalizing the roster ahead of their opening night matchup with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. While most of these moves were expected, Garrison Matthews' release comes as the biggest surprise. The veteran sharpshooter, who signed with New York in September, was seen as a legitimate contender for a rotation spot. Known for his perimeter accuracy and high energy, Matthews made a solid impression early in training camp and through the preseason. Across 4 exhibition games, Matthews shot 7 of 17 from three-point range, displaying the same quick release and confidence that have defined his career. In the Knicks' overtime win against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he hit 2 crucial triples that helped seal the game, moments that seemed to solidify his case for a roster position. However, when the Knicks faced Charlotte in their final preseason contest, Matthews didn't play a single minute, even as head coach Mike Brown rested several key players such as OG Anunoby and Josh Hart. That absence proved telling. According to Ian Begley of SNY, the team had already been leaning toward releasing Matthews, opting instead to preserve flexibility and prioritize player development for younger pieces. Matthews, who ranked 4th in three-point percentage during the 2023-24 season with the Atlanta Hawks, is expected to attract attention from teams looking to bolster their perimeter shooting. Speaking with Stephen Bondy of the New York Post, Matthews made it clear he's not interested in joining the Knicks G League affiliate in Westchester, preferring to stay at the NBA level or explore overseas opportunities. His departure comes in the middle of what has been a turbulent week for New York's backcourt. Just days earlier, Malcolm Brogdon, another September signing, announced his sudden retirement after 9 seasons in the NBA. Brogdon's decision not only shocked the locker room but also reshaped the Knicks' rotation plans heading into the regular season. With Brogdon gone and Matthews now waived, the Knicks' depth chart opens more minutes for Landry Shamet, a proven shooter who remains an important piece off the bench. The changes also clear developmental space for young guards Pacome Dadiet and Tyler Kolek, both of whom impressed during the preseason with their poise and energy. Reports suggest the Knicks chose to keep both players rather than include them in a potential cost-cutting trade, signaling the team's renewed commitment to internal growth. Meanwhile, Alex Len and Matt Ryan were always considered long shots to make the final roster. Len, a veteran 7-footer, was brought in primarily to provide training camp competition and depth at the center position. Having previously played under Mike Brown in Sacramento, Len was familiar with the system and defensive principles. But with Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein already securing the frontcourt, there was simply no room left for another traditional big. Matt Ryan, who appeared in 19 games with the Knicks last season, faced a similar uphill battle. Known for his professionalism, shooting touch, and locker room presence, Ryan served as a steady hand during training camp. Yet, his preseason minutes mostly came in late-game situations as the coaching staff evaluated younger prospects and two-way players. Overall, the Knicks' preseason ended on a high note, with the team going 4-1 and showing promising chemistry under Mike Brown's leadership. The defensive communication looked sharper, the ball movement more fluid, and the overall energy noticeably improved compared to last season. These are early signs that Brown's structured approach and emphasis on teamwork are already resonating throughout the locker room. With these roster moves finalized, the Knicks now stand at 17 players. Under current salary cap rules, the organization still has flexibility to add another player within the next 2 weeks without crossing the restrictive second tax apron. All 3 two-way contract spots remain occupied, held by Tosin Evbuen, Trey Jemison III, and Kevin McCullough Jr., who returns for his second season with the franchise. Each of these young players is expected to split time between the main roster and the Westchester Knicks, gaining valuable experience and development minutes. Now, as the regular season approaches, the Knicks turn their focus to Cleveland for opening night. The team enters the year with a deep roster, a balanced mix of veterans and youth, and a clear identity centered on defense, unselfishness, and energy. The preseason cuts may have been difficult, but they also highlight a crucial point. This version of the Knicks under Mike Brown is serious about structure, accountability, and long-term success. The Garden is ready, the roster is set, and a new chapter of Knicks basketball is about to begin. It wasn't beginner's luck for New York Knicks rookie Mohammad Diawara. It was the kind of performance that turns heads and makes people take notice. In what was supposed to be a quiet preseason finale, the 20-year-old forward stole the spotlight. The Knicks wrapped up their exhibition schedule with a 113-108 victory over the Charlotte Hornets, and Diawara's energy, poise, and defensive instincts became one of the biggest storylines of the night. Diawara, selected 51st overall in the 2025 NBA Draft, made his first preseason start and delivered exactly what the Knicks coaching staff hoped to see: effort, discipline, and flashes of two-way potential. In 21 minutes of action, he scored 8 points, grabbed 7 rebounds, and finished the game with a +12 rating, the second-best mark among New York starters, trailing only center Trey Jemison III. Head coach Mike Brown, now leading the Knicks into a new era, praised the team's defensive effort and made sure to single out the rookie for his activity on that end. "I thought our guy's activity defensively was good for most of the game," Brown said after the win. "Even a young guy like Mo had 3 deflections in a short amount of time, 2 steals. He brought energy on both ends." For Brown and the Knicks front office, this was exactly the kind of performance they wanted to see from a young player fighting for a roster spot. The Knicks had struggled on the boards in their previous outing against the Washington Wizards, losing the rebounding battle by 12. But against Charlotte, that story flipped. Thanks to Diawara's length and hustle, New York out-rebounded the Hornets by 3, a small but meaningful swing that spoke volumes about effort and execution. Playing alongside Trey Jemison, Mikal Bridges, and Jalen Brunson, Diawara didn't look overwhelmed or out of place. Instead, he played within the system, made smart cuts, and showed a solid understanding of positioning on defense. His energy stood out, diving for loose balls, contesting shots, and staying active in passing lanes. For a young forward still adjusting to the NBA pace, that's a promising sign. Of course, the rookie's path to consistent playing time remains uncertain. The Knicks were missing several regulars, including key big men Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns, both expected to play major roles once the regular season begins. That left a temporary opening for Diawara to showcase his game, and he took full advantage. Still, there may be more opportunity ahead. According to SNY's Ian Begley, the Knicks plan to release veteran guard Garrison Matthews shortly after the preseason finale. That move could free up an additional roster spot, giving Diawara a better chance to stick with the team beyond training camp. For now, the expectation is that he'll begin the season with the Westchester Knicks, the team's G League affiliate in White Plains, where he can develop further and gain more consistent minutes. But the organization has made it clear that they value defensive versatility, and Diawara checks those boxes. Last season, New York learned firsthand how valuable frontcourt depth can be. The team spent a large portion of the year without Mitchell Robinson, who missed time with an ankle injury. That absence forced the Knicks to shuffle rotations, experiment with small ball lineups, and rely heavily on bench players. Diawara's emergence gives them another young, athletic option who can provide insurance if injuries strike again. And beyond the numbers, what stands out most about Diawara is his mentality. After being drafted in June, he spoke about his confidence and his belief in being an all-around player. "I see myself as a complete player," he told the New York Post's Stephen Bondy. "I can guard 1 through 5. Offensively, I can play 1 through 5. I can handle the ball, shoot the ball, defend every position. I try to impact the game in as many ways as possible." That versatility, the ability to guard smaller players on the perimeter and battle with big men inside, is something Mike Brown values deeply. Brown has built his coaching reputation around defense, discipline, and effort. For Diawara to earn early praise from him in just a few preseason games speaks volumes about how he's been approaching his opportunity. But for Diawara, defense is more than just a skill, it's a mindset. "You can't win games if you're not defending," he said. "That's the one thing you need, for sure, to win a game. I think my best version is defensively, pressuring the ball full court, staying active, bringing energy. That's what I do best." It's that mindset that could carve him a path to meaningful minutes later in the season. The Knicks, known for their gritty, blue-collar identity, have always embraced players who earn their way through hard work and defense. If Diawara continues to play with that edge, it's easy to imagine him finding a role as the season unfolds, whether as a spark off the bench or a defensive specialist in certain matchups. While it's still early, Diawara's preseason breakout adds a fresh layer of optimism for a Knicks team looking to build depth behind its stars. His effort, length, and confidence fit perfectly within the culture Mike Brown is trying to instill, a culture built on defense, energy, and accountability. One strong game doesn't guarantee him a permanent role, but it sends a clear message. Mohammad Diawara belongs. As the Knicks prepare to tip off the regular season, the young forward's name is officially on the radar, and his performance against Charlotte may be just the beginning of something special in New York. Knicks make their position on top trade candidate unmistakably clear. Just in case anyone needed any more proof. Whether it was intentional or not, head coach Mike Brown just sent one of the clearest messages yet about Pacome Dadiet's future with the New York Knicks, and it's not one filled with optimism. The 20-year-old forward might still have a seat on the roster, but his grip on that spot is loosening fast. Dadiet's name has quietly lingered in the background all off-season, floating somewhere between promising developmental piece and potential trade chip. But after the team's latest moves and the way Brown handled the preseason finale, the writing on the wall has become bolder and harder to ignore. The sequence of events tells the story. Malcolm Brogdon's surprise retirement suddenly opened up a roster spot, and soon after, SNY's Ian Begley reported that Garrison Matthews would be waived. That shuffle cleared the way for New York to finalize deals with Landry Shamet and rookie Mohammad Diawara, while keeping Dadiet on board, at least temporarily. On paper, it all looks procedural. In reality, it highlights a clear hierarchy forming within the Knicks' depth chart, and Dadiet's place near the bottom of it. Mike Brown treated the team's final preseason game as a dress rehearsal for opening night, a controlled test of what his rotations could look like when things start counting. But with OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Mitchell Robinson all sitting out, the lineup was already thin. In that kind of situation, one would expect players on the fringe, like Dadiet, to step in and make their case. Instead, Brown went in a different direction. With Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges anchoring the lineup, Brown filled the gaps with Jordan Clarkson in the backcourt, Trey Jamison 3 up front, and, most notably, rookie Mohammad Diawara on the wing. It was a bold move, especially considering Diawara was the team's number 51 overall pick in the draft, still trying to find his footing in the league. When asked why he chose to start Diawara, Brown didn't mince words, he earned it in practice. That single comment spoke volumes. It wasn't just about Diawara's effort, it was about Dadiet's lack of traction. Pacome Dadiet didn't just lose a starting opportunity. He didn't play at all. The box score next to his name told the entire story, DNP, coach's decision. That's not a typical label for a young player in the final preseason game, especially when 2 rotation wings were unavailable. It was a quiet but unmistakable signal that Dadiet's standing with the team has slipped dramatically. The most painful part? Practice was supposed to be Dadiet's strength. The Knicks have long praised his work ethic and progression behind the scenes. But if Brown's decisions are any indication, Diawara has outperformed him not only in game action but also in those very same practices. It's worth noting that the Knicks never expected Dadiet to have a major role this season. From day one, the organization made it clear that their younger players, Dadiet included, would be brought along slowly. Even Tyler Kolek might only see the court because Brogdon's sudden exit opened up unexpected minutes at guard. Still, that doesn't excuse Dadiet's complete absence in a short-handed preseason matchup. This was the perfect chance to showcase improvement, earn the coach's trust, and build momentum heading into the season. Instead, he spent the night watching from the sidelines. That kind of omission doesn't happen by accident. It happens because the coaching staff has already made up its mind. And that brings us to the larger truth. A Pacome Dadiet trade feels less like a possibility and more like an inevitability. Making it through training camp and onto the opening night roster might sound like an endorsement from the front office, but in reality, it's more likely a matter of logistics. If Brogdon hadn't retired, Dadiet might already be elsewhere. The Knicks reportedly explored trade scenarios this summer but couldn't find a team willing to take him without an additional incentive, like a second-round pick or cash considerations. That doesn't mean the organization is giving up on his potential entirely, but it does mean he's not viewed as an integral part of their short-term or even medium-term plans. His $2.8 million salary is perfectly sized for trade balancing, making him an easy inclusion in future deals when the Knicks look to upgrade the roster during the season. If Dadiet plays well in the G League, maybe he boosts his value enough to return a draft pick, a best-case scenario for both sides. But if not, the Knicks could just as easily attach him to another transaction, either to shed salary or sweeten a trade package for a more established contributor. The NBA is a business, and the Knicks are operating like one. Every move they've made since the offseason began, from the Karl-Anthony Towns blockbuster to the smaller depth signings, has pointed toward a franchise that's all in on contending right now. There's little room for long-term experiments, and even less patience for developmental projects that don't show immediate results. Pacome Dadiet might have potential, but potential doesn't mean much when the win-now window is wide open. So while he'll start the season in a Knicks uniform, everything we've seen, and everything we've heard, suggests that's only temporary. Pacome Dadiet's future in New York isn't just uncertain. It's already being written somewhere else. He'll likely begin the year on the bench, possibly spending stretches in the G League, while the front office keeps his name in circulation. Whether it's part of a mid-season trade or a simple roster adjustment, the outcome feels inevitable. Dadiet may be on the team today, but the way things are shaping up, he won't be for long.